Supreme Court has ruled that when people's charter rights are violated, they should be allowed to sue for cash compensation in some cases. Vancouver lawyer Cameron Ward sued the police after he was strip searched in 2002. Police had wrongly suspected him of planning to throw a pie at former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien. Cameron Ward joins us now from Vancouver this morning. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Ward. So how are you feeling now that the Supreme Court has basically ruled in your favor?
Well, the first reaction I have is one of relief. I am relieved that this 8-year odyssey is finally over. And I'm also very pleased with the decision because I think it is an important decision that makes it clear that charter rights really have some meaning, and in certain cases, when they're violated, people can recover a meaningful remedy.
And how would you describe the significance of this decision here for people who may find themselves in a similar situation to the one that you were in?
Well, it could be quite important in a variety of contexts. For instance, recently we've all heard about the G20 arrests, and if people are able to prove that they were wrongly detained or arrested, or in some cases perhaps even strip searched, they may be able to recover monetary compensation, which would also act as a deterrence in certain cases. It may also have application, for example, to people who were wrongly convicted and have faced terms of imprisonment. So there may be a number of circumstances to which this decision could apply in the future.
But, you know, police at the same time are saying that this decision might make it more difficult for them to be able to do their job, to protect people, to protect heads of state, for instance. What do you say to those arguments?
Well, I think those arguments are nonsense. We have to realize, and the Supreme Court of Canada has made this clear, that the Charter of Rights is a fundamental part of our Constitution, and that any individual's constitutional rights are supremely important. They have to be respected. The police and the other authorities, the state, always have to be mindful of the citizens' constitutional rights. And in my case, for instance, those rights were egregiously violated, according to the Supreme Court of Canada, and I agree, when I was strip searched for no reason. I was a completely innocent person.
Now, Mr. Ward, take us back to when this happened 8 years ago. At the time, I mean, you were worried about damage to your reputation. Is that what got you fired up and wanting to sue, or what was it exactly?
Well, it was a very upsetting day. I was handcuffed, bundled away in a police wagon, taken to the Vancouver jail where I was strip searched and then held all day in a tiny 3-foot by 6-foot cell. As it turned out, when I got home, I found that video footage of my arrest had been shown on the evening news. So this was out there in the community. All I wanted at that point was for the authorities to step up and say, "We made a mistake, we're sorry." And I repeatedly asked for simply an apology, a public apology, so that the record would be set straight. I didn't get that. I sued. And when I won at trial and felt I was vindicated, then the authorities, the province and the city, appealed to first the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court of Canada. So I've been dragged through the court process now for 8 years when this whole matter could have been disposed of with an acknowledgement of a mistake and an apology.
You're kidding. So you would not have bothered with all of this if they had just given you an apology saying, okay, we're sorry?
Absolutely. On at least 2 occasions, right after the incident, and then about a week before the trial date, I said, look, I'll drop this case if you just apologize to me and acknowledge that you made mistakes. They dug in their heels. They must have spent, the province and the city, hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and legal time fighting this case over the last 8 years.
We got to run here, but one last quick question. Do you still want one?
An apology?
Yeah.
Oh, I think the Supreme Court of Canada's decision today is all that I ever need, and I'm grateful for it.
Okay, we sure appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much, Mr. Ward. That's Cameron Ward in Vancouver this morning.